So we're gonna get this party started. Yay. I'm Lisa. I'm also known as Sassy Cat. I sit on the board of AZBurners. I'll be kind of our moderator and facilitator today. I won't be you won't only hear my voice today, I promise. We have a lot of stuff to cover, and we're gonna try and keep it all within the couple hours that we promised we'd keep it in. The good news is, I don't know if any of you were here like in the way past when the town halls would drag on for like 4 or 5 hours. We're scrunching it in. Last year we kept it to 2.5. This year we'll keep it to no longer than 2.5. So welcome. I'm joined by this is just, I'm so happy to look at all of you. All right. Okay. So here's our agenda today. You can see we've got a lot of stuff to cover, and every time we move from section to section, you'll see something grayed out in this little agenda. So we get a little reminder of our 11 principles, as well as where we're at in this meeting as we move forward today. So I'm here to welcome you all. Ruvi, who's hanging out over here, is moderating on Zoom. So we have a bunch of people who have also joined us via Zoom. This meeting is being recorded, and this is going to be the recording that will go on the AZBurners website after next week's town hall in Tucson, so that anybody who isn't able to make it either here or to Tucson will be able to kind of see what's happening. But there's nothing like being live with all of you. It makes me feel very, very good. I just want to share this kind of complicated slide, but it tells a bit of a story because you're going to hear some acronyms today. Let me get all the rest of this in here. So the big green oval represents our Arizona Burners community. There are several thousand people in this community. So even though Saguaro Man gets upwards of 1,200 participants, decompression gets maybe just under a couple hundred. We've got thousands of people in our Facebook groups and on our mailing lists and who go to Black Rock City every year from Arizona. So we're a pretty large community. We have some legal entities that were established in order to help protect the people and the land that we have to be able to do our thing as a community. So within our community, you have something that you'll hear referred to as AAC, which is short for Arizona Artistic Conflagrator Incorporated, which is the 501c3 that are kind of like our community stewards. Within that, we do events. We do things like maintain the code of conduct. We take care of the finances. I mean, there's a bunch of stuff that goes on in there other than a party in our desert once a year. Within that, we also have a legal entity called ARP. So you see that's like right inside AAC. That's the thing that signs the contracts for insurance for Saguaro Man, for the Portos and things like that. So that's the contracting entity for Saguaro Man and decompression. The events that we have that are camping and will have some kind of, well, mainly they're camping. We need that because of insurance stuff and all of that. So all this is under the umbrella of Arizona Artistic Conflagrators from a legal entity perspective. We have Arizona Burners Without Borders, who you're going to hear from today. And oh my God, Corinne, when I got the slides from you, I was like, holy cow, this organization has done so much this year. And I hope that you guys get encouraged enough to participate even more. Just ever so powerful. And they're also a 501c3 nonprofit. And finally, we have the 501c3 that are the stewards of the land, which we've lovingly referred to as Landy McLandface ever since it was purchased. We kind of hid from that name, but this year there was one of the major art things on Black Rock City was Coney McCone face. And I figure if there can be a Coney McCone face, we can have our Landy McLandface. So we can be upfront and personal about Landy McLandface. And then we've got Burning Man Project, which which we're kind of connected to. I mean, there's a lot that we do that has nothing to do with Burning Man Project, but there's a lot that we do that we're very connected with Burning Man Project, like our official events, like Burners Without Borders. And so Burning Man Project provides things like me, which is a regional contact. They provide lots of support resources if only we would use them. And they provide things like officializing the event. So the reason we can call Saguaro Man an official Burning Man regional event is because they sign off on it, is because we're connected with them like that. So this is our community. We're trying to get away from like the whole corporate speak when we talk about our community. So I wanted to make sure you understood these are legal entities, but they're not the community. The community is all of us. And so you're going to hear less about legal entities today, and you're going to hear more about community, but you will see some of these acronyms as we move forward. The key to all of this is your radical participation, is all the volunteers. I mean, when Misha comes up and talks about Saguaro Man and decompression, you're going to see the hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of volunteer shifts that go into making these events happen. Excuse me, all the volunteers that we have throughout the year that makes things happen. And the more we can do that together, the more we can be community, the more we can be, just have fun as well as do some good. You're going to hear a lot of opportunities. So as you're sitting through this, or online, in person, or those of you who will watch this one day on video, think about the ways in which your soul might be called to participate, and listen to that within you, and then make it happen. And you'll hear about ways that you can get in contact to do that. So with that, I'm going to ask Huck to come on up, because we do have a board for Arizona Artistic Conflagrator. And Huckleberry, where are you? Oh, there you are, Huck. Come on down.
Those words from the chair.
Stand behind the podium so that the folks on Zoom can see you,
Sure.
can see you too, like right over here.
Alrighty.
You'll be able to see your face right there.
Okay.
And just tell me when you want me to advance this.
Very good. Well, welcome everyone. Happy to be here. I was planning on being here last year. I came on the board a little over a year ago, and came on as a member. And then as we were discussing, positions,
Yeah, just step back a little bit.
Okay. As we were discussing positions, it got down to where they needed a chairman. So it was kind of like, okay, I'll volunteer. I'd been a chair for a small water district up in Strawberry, Arizona, where I live. So I told these folks, the next meeting I'm having, instead of coming to Phoenix, they're coming to Strawberry, to meet. So I've been a burner for about 6 years officially. I think always a burner at heart. I just have always felt that desire to kind of connect with the environment. I'm an ex-biology teacher, and just enjoy nature. I grow, I garden, I do all kinds of stuff outdoors. I have attended Saguaro Man, decomp. I attend work weekends. Work weekends I find are the best. And again, from a volunteering standpoint, come down and help. Our land, your land, needs a lot of work. In fact, as we get further into the presentation, I'm on the land development team with a few others, and we've got a lot of great ideas. Nothing cemented, no formal plans, just suggestions that came up through a brainstorming session. So if you can think of something, we're going to have the website up there for you to be able to contact us and add to some of the activities and things that we're looking to do. As far as state of the board, very pleased. In fact, we have a slide here with members of the board. We have Amy, who is our treasurer. We have Armilla, Queen Bonnie, who couldn't make it. She's down celebrating in Tucson with the events down there and festivities. We have Adele Snow, also known as Groovy. She's out of Tucson, and a fire spinner.
On Zoom.
Yes, and on Zoom today. Danny Moore, also known as Rat Lady. She's helps us with radical inclusion, working heavily with the land development team on land improvements and how to make them more mobility friendly. up to and including even crushed granite, maybe walkways into the handicap porta potties that we have. So again, we want to make it as available and accommodating for everyone. I mean, it's one of our principles, radical inclusion. We have Coda, also known as Scott Dudley, but he likes to go by Coda. He's been down in Mexico City the last few months. He's had a family death and down there taking care of business. In fact, that's why I wasn't here last year. My mom passed and I was back in Pennsylvania actually and couldn't even make it on Zoom. I'd have to go to McDonald's to get the internet. Mom never had. At 93 years old, she didn't have internet. Lisa, also known as Sassy Cat, member at large, and our RC. Tremendous asset to our community. And she's agreed to stay on as a consultant, as an assistant, as whatever we need. And I very much appreciate that. Her and Ruby both have agreed to do that. Myself and then, well, Ruby, again, a member at large. Both Ruby and Lisa's term here on the board expires at the end of December. So again, as Lisa mentioned, volunteers, we're looking for 2 board member replacements and even possibly more. So if you have it in your heart and your soul to be a member of this community, truly a member, you're already a member, but an active, involved community member, come on board, come on board. Next slide, please.
Oh. Yeah, we only had the one.
Okay. I guess there was one thing too that I want to talk about. In fact, one of our members in the community posted this and I wrote it down and it says, taking root. And I kind of feel that's where we are right now as a community. We've had the land down in Wilcox for about 3 years now. Really hasn't gotten traction. You know, we've gone down, we've torn a lot of stuff out, trying to get rid of the mesquite trees, which we need to nurture, which one of my slides is going to show. But it's a continual commitment to creating a home for the Arizona burners community. The burner culture has almost been defined by transience, temporariness, and communities, contracting the inherent freedom that comes from a blank slate. And that's for sure what we have down in Wilcox. That is a blank slate. Those of you who have visited, in fact, what we found recently is with a lot of the tearing up of the mesquites, the small ones, we had that little haboob come through and quite a dust storm it created. In fact, our camp, Frank and about 5 or 6 others, we were all grabbing corners of the canopy to hold it down. We said, here it comes. You know, we could see it coming up. So what does this all mean? Well, for us to take root, you know, how do we choose to grow one in order to make the root? And what we're looking to do, and I know we're all about leave no trace, but I've been working with a permaculture individual who's part of our community who lives down in Tucson. And he's saying, you know, we're already there. The people are using the area. So we need to leave a positive trace. So we're going to talk a little bit about the stuff that we can leave behind. We need to nurture this vegetation. So with that, I will turn it over to the next presenter.
A lot more on that to come.
Yes.
When we get down to the Landy McLean face section in the agenda. Thanks, Huck.
Yep.
It's just a personal thing. It's been really cool. So when I came on board as an RC, it was like the RCs, you know, the board came up through the RCs kind of doing all the things. And to see the community come alive in the you know, in the recognized leadership is just phenomenal. And so this board that exists now is super exciting for me because that's who it is. It's the community. It's not, it's part of my mission is proving that we don't need the Burning Man designated RCs to be the ones that are ahead of these organizations. We're here to grow community, to help, to be, you know, to be the connector. But I just love that we've got so many volunteers up and coming that are just seizing the day and taking this on. So Huck, thank you so much. And to the rest of the board. So now just quick, fast facts. Oh, and I guess the other thing I'll say is we got a lot to go through. We're not going to stop at the end of every segment and look for questions and conversation. We're going to reserve that for the end. So anything that's striking you, just kind of make a note. And we'll have a chance at the end to go through anything, any questions that are remaining, any thoughts on your minds, and anything that we might have missed that you were hoping we were going to cover. Yes.
Please eat, because otherwise food's getting
Yeah.
cold. And there's pizza and other warm
Yeah.
foods, and just grab whatever you want. Sodas on the side, there's a water refill there if anybody wants to refill, because you're all burners, you brought your cups, right?
And those of you on Zoom, if you want to stop and grab yourselves a snack, go for it. We're just going to keep on going. The first thing is communications. As the years have gone by, there's been like more and more channels for communicating. And I just wanted to take a quick moment to share with you guys today. We're still really big on Facebook. Facebook and email are the main ways that we've been communicating with the community as well as on the websites. We've been playing a little bit with Instagram. We're not on TikTok yet, I don't think. But there's a lot, right? A lot of balls to juggle. And we're now starting to look at how do we grow this communications team. But I wanted to just take a moment today, because when you see stuff on the website, when you see stuff on Facebook, when you get the emails, there's people behind all that. So I wanted to make sure that we gave our appreciation to our Facebook group moderators. They help keep our groups protected. So we don't get spam in our groups because they're preventing that from going in. When hate speech happens, they block it right away. So there's a lot going on behind the scenes. When you guys are at Saguaro Man or Burning Man, somebody is left behind to actually moderate these groups. So I want to give a shout out to Carrie, Mary Elizabeth, Amy, and Rat Lady for taking care of us on our Facebook groups. I want to give a shout out to Ruvi, Heathen, Buddha, and JB for managing our websites and making sure that they're up to date and clickable and seeable. And I wanted to do a shout out to Matt Meanders, who for our biggest event, which is Saguaro Man. I mean, if you guys have went to Saguaro Man this year, he took care of all that communication. And I think the communication was by far the best for this year's Saguaro Man that it has been since I've been in the region. So I know I miss people on this list, but these are the folks that came to my mind I wanted to give a shout out to. The other thing that I want to just share with you in case you haven't seen is this year we did update our code of conduct policy, process, and team. You can read all about it on the website. So that QR code takes you right to the first page of our code of conduct section on the website. The big thing that we've done over the last few years, and I think we took another big step this year, is the transparency, the procedures. If God forbid you need to file a code of conduct complaint, you're going to get the same, right? The interviews are constructed in the same way across the board, and all of that. The conduct committee right now, first I wanted to share with you, even though it's on the website, I want to make sure you know how the conduct committee itself is selected. The policy that you'll read says the conduct committee needs to consist of at least one Burning Man regional contact, at least one member of the AZBurner Board, and at least one member of the bed board. And we've collaborated with Bureau of Electric, the Bureau of Erotic Discourse, to be part of our process. And we've adopted some of their process as well. And then a few members of the Arizona Burners community that are in good standing that have been vetted by the board. One of the things that I learned, actually, we all sign a confidentiality agreement, so we are not allowed to talk about any case with anybody except for the people from that case. What happened? Hey, Buddha, it happened again.
There we go.
There we go. Okay. And we might even proceed to looking at what the heck.
Sorry, folks. Zoom decided to update mid-conference on Lisa's machine, so she's working on getting that back up.
In the meantime, can I keep going?
Oh, you're,
I'm back on Zoom?
um,
I don't think so.
I don't see you back on Zoom yet.
Yeah, Zoom it looks like these Zoom updates are gonna be a while.
Okay, so
So
you,
I'm gonna.
you can keep going because I turned my mic on so they can hear you.
Perfect, perfect. And then it'll be recorded in the thing, so,
Yep.
okay. So, oh, now you have it on the wrong, now you get to see all my notes. I'm sorry, everybody.
That's really weird that
Yeah,
Zoom
that really
decides
sucked.
to,
Yeah,
yeah.
okay. So, this is our current code of conduct committee. Ruby's on, well, several members of the board. Ruby, Coda, Ray, and myself, and I'm also, right, I also serve as the RC on the committee. Momo Keller is also on the committee, and she is a board member of Bureau of Erotic Discourse, and also Robert Cohn from down in Tucson, whose client name happens to be God. So these are the 5 folks we have right now. We're probably going to go to the community to see if we could find more people who would volunteer to be investigators. And we're also probably, after this BAM meeting that I was at last time, one of the things we might move into also is getting the fingerprint, the background checks done to make sure that whoever is on an investigation committee has had that we can establish that kind of confidence. So, okay. So that's that. Our current status of code. So what's gone on this past year since we announced it is that since our last town hall, we've had 11 new cases come to play. They've all been concluded. I think we have one that we realized that we didn't finish up with the communication, and that's happening this weekend, but they've all been decided anyways, with one, I think, communication missing. One of those was unsubstantiated. So that means someone makes a complaint about somebody else and we couldn't find any, there's no evidence pointing to anything that tells us that the person is actually a risk to our events. 4 of them were archived. And most of those, 3 of those were archived at the person who submitted their request. Or like, I just want you to have this for your records just in case something happens with this person. I can't tell you about specific event that happened outside of Burns. 2 of them turned into warnings or teachable moments. In the bed vernacular, it's a teachable moment, right? Help you understand what it is that happened. And then obviously, if the same thing happens again, it gets escalated into something else. 4 people have been banned from our events. That means you're not invited back. It doesn't mean we found you guilty. So I want to make sure that folks understand code of conduct is not the Arizona Burners Police. It's not the Arizona Burners Court. It's what we're trying to do is protect our community, right? Do we have a reason to believe that a person being at our events poses a risk to our community by being at that event? Okay, that's what that means. And so 4 people met that criteria, and 2 ended up with some kind of suspension, meaning we needed to do something. So no, you're not invited back to our events for a year or 2 years or 3 years, whatever those suspensions were. You're going to find a difference between the number of cases and those numbers I just rattled off, because sometimes someone will file a code of conduct inquiry or a code of conduct report, and that report is talking about multiple people. Sometimes we'll get 2 or 3 code of conduct reports that are talking about the same 1 or 2 people. So the number of reports and the number of things that happen aren't necessarily equal. Just to share with you, so this is an ongoing process. Our goal is to keep improving it, and we feel good about where we are at with the process. The files are in a secure location, so only the Code of Conduct Committee has access to the files that are the Code of Conduct Committee files. They're not reachable by anybody else, even the board. part of our process now has an actual procedure. So if another regional event wants to know, so for instance, if Element 11 says, hey, you guys are close enough people from Arizona come to our burn, we'd really like to understand, can you give us your list of banned and suspended people? They can request it if you're an official burn event, or if you follow, you can prove that you adhere to the bed practices, then you can get on our website and make a request. You've got to fill out a form and make a request. And after you make out that request, you're going to get something back that you have to sign in a DocuSign that promises you are going to keep that confidential, that the only people you're going to share that list with, which only includes the names and the email addresses. It doesn't say the reasons, it doesn't give any history, it's just the names and the email addresses. You can only share that with your ticketing and your game. And so when those conditions are met, we share it. We were just at a multi-regional event with a bunch of people that produce regional events, and they were really excited that we came up with this process and this aspect of our policy, and I won't be surprised if more regionals adopt it. The big thing we still struggle with is timely completion of these. Our goal is within 90 days of getting the report. Herding the cats, real jobs. When burn gets in the way, they take longer, and it bothers the hell out of us because we really want to get these done fast. So this is the biggest thing I think that we've been struggling. So that's, sorry, that was supposed to be quick. Took a few minutes longer, but I think it's important for you guys to know the whole process, the forms, everything. It's laid out in the website, step by step, piece by piece. I encourage you to go take a look at it. Next up, I know you were coming here because you were ready.
Forgot you had the other slide. Sorry about that.
Amy, who's our treasurer, is going to share with us where we're at financially, which is also, guys, do you guys remember, like, especially when COVID happened, we bought the land and then COVID hit and we almost went under. And like every year when we would just take in enough and we could barely scrape by and we needed to use ticket money to pay for things that you needed to pay for in advance. I'm super excited for what Amy's about to report.
Do I need to flip the slide?
You can say Lisa flip the side.
Okay,
for me, and
thank
then
you.
Hi, buddy. But get to where the zoomies can, oh,
No.
give me 1 second so I can get on, so I can get us back
I'll
on
see if
Zoom.
it's back on
Yeah,
Zoom.
let me just.
They weren't able to hear us.
Oh, they will.
They were able to hear.
With my mic, I turned my mic on. So Lisa, we can keep going like this because the audio is coming through just fine, and I've got the video pointing towards the speaker, so
Oh, you're doing slides.
slides too. Oh, no,
Yes.
you're right.
Yeah.
Sorry, slides.
But I can't, it's not letting me.
Ruby?
It's not letting me go anywhere.
Ruby, see the
Alright.
chat.
Sorry, zoomies.
You've got to sign into Google. That's probably got the focus of your mouse. That's why you're not able to do anything.
Okay. So how about grab a bit of food and let me see if I could get us back on.
Refresh
Zoom.
your drink.
Cause this should just take a second. Join. Join. Oh, I think.
All right.
Yeah,
That's probably why I was asking for authentication.
that's okay. We're good.
All right, I see you.
Okay. All right, you should be good.
Yep, there I am.
Can you
Yay.
hear me?
Huh?
No.
Could see me. Yep. We good?
Yeah.
Hey, everybody, I'm Amy. I'm on the board and I serve as treasurer. I do the books. We did have another good year. We are continuing to increase the balances in each of our allocated activity accounts, which are also known as funds, right? So we can create more art, build more infrastructure, improve the land, and grow our community. As you can see here, slide. Due to our biggest Saguaro man to date, and having a decompression. Our revenues are up almost 30,000 for the year from last year. So in 24, our revenues were just over 67,000 in excess of our expenses. Which one of the reasons we're achieving this is because we are setting budgets that both allow for some growth in infrastructure and so forth, but also allow us to save some money and for the next year to build up our different funds so that we can do more and have more resources. Next slide, please.
It doesn't realize that's what I'm trying to.
Okay. So closing out at 10/15/2024, those are all the funds that we have on the books. As you can see, those are the amounts of money that we have in each fund available to use. And that is as of, last month. And then our general fund at the moment has just over 22,000. But one aspect of civic responsibility is giving back to the community. And this year we're going to continue what we started last year. And we have allocated 15,000 for donating. We're going to give 2,000 to the Burning Man Project, 5,000 to Wilcox area nonprofits, and the remainder of 8,000 to Arizona nonprofits. You can vote. Right? That's the URL to vote.
Provide your input.
Yep, provide your input, vote on one of the local Wilcox charities that we recommend, and then also you can put in your own. If you have a charity that you know of that you can, that you would like to see us show the civic responsibility to, by all means, put it in there. Let's see. And that sums up my financial report. Thank you.
And just one clarification, we've been donating all along from whenever we end up a Swarman, and at the end of the year, whatever we didn't use, we used to donate out to nonprofits.
Yeah.
So it's a continuation of many years.
Yes.
From Scotland.
I encourage you to look up all these different ones. I know that there's been some discussion on Facebook and we didn't have a chance to get it in the slide this morning when we remembered them. But you might have been talking about the Rex Allen Museum, the Wilcox Pool, our different things in Wilcox that have been seeking donations. So the things that we've listed aren't like, okay, only pick from these. If there's a charity that you feel passionate about, get it on there and tell your friends to also put it on there's a place on the forum for you to add what you want. So we're ultimately going to donate to 2 nonprofits in Wilcox and to a few other nonprofits in Arizona. You're familiar with Burners Without Borders, and Corinne's going to be up here and talking about the amazing things they've been doing. Arizona Artistic is the actual corporation. That's the 501c3 for the land. Bureau of Erotic Discourse, and the Walter Hive. We haven't used Walter Hive facilities this year. However, the purpose of that nonprofit is just amazing. Using art for helping cure, right? Helping people with resilience and with whatever they need. So please provide your input, and then we're going to close the forum on November 24th, which is in time for before the board meets end of November. And based on what we get, we'll get back to everybody in the community by the first part of the December with what the actual donations are going to be. Okay. So with all that, now let's move to events. And Misha is going to talk about Swarman, decompression, and our major events that we've got going on. So thank you. You want to click your own slides or you want me to do it for you? Okay, you just say when I should go. Okay. And then you make sure you can see yourself in there because that means they can see you. Awesome.
Okay, hey guys, I'm Vixen, regional burner for 10 years, went to my first Burning Man this year and had the pleasure of stepping in as one of the 3 new event producers for decompression. So we're going to talk about Saguaro Man and decompression a little bit. You can click the slide. So first off, the list of our leads. I'm not going to read all of this. There are so many of them. They're all amazing. We're super thankful to have everybody on this list helping us out and grateful for their, volunteering, and we're happy to have them. Obviously for Saguaro Man, all of these departments, thank you. All of these departments are working hard and they're present and everybody's there and accounted for decompression. We didn't quite use all of these. We don't have a lot of the extra pizzazz that Saguaro Man has. So I'm just thankful for people being able to come and go, step in whenever they're needed. You can click. All right, so starting out with Saguaro Man, the event sold out. I think we were all kind of excited about that. It was a big event. We had 1,260 tickets sold, 299 on the wait list come the event. We had 319 volunteers, which is fantastic. We're always looking for more volunteers, so this was wonderful. We'd like to see more. 54 theme camps, 17 mutant vehicles, 32 art pieces placed, which is fantastic. I'm so happy to see that our art community is coming in strong with that.
We got 50% more money allocated for art grants for 2025.
Oh, nice. In case anybody didn't hear that, we got 50% more art funds allocated, you said?
Mhm.
That's fantastic.
25, sorry. It's going from 15 to 20. So I overspoke.
No, you're fine. We burnt the temple finally at Saguaro Man this year. Thank goodness. We're all super happy about that.
The owls were very happy. They were living in it.
Oh, no.
The county came after us, yeah, but it's a habitat for owls.
Oh,
So
boy.
let it be, let it be.
But yes, we burnt 2 beautiful art pieces. We had 38 rangers. Thank you, rangers. We know you guys work your butts off. 3 noteworthy medical incidents. Everybody ended up okay. Our medical team jumped in and did everything that was needed and took the right steps to get those people taken care of. We had 2 minor law enforcement interactions and 0 sound complaints. So that's fantastic. Woohoo. Yeah. All right. So what went well with Saguaro Man? We started working with Humantix. I'm kind of jumping down to ticketing first. We started working with Humantix. From what I understand, it's been a really great experience. We're able to split up our tickets for like early bird tickets. We can handle low income tickets, pretty much everything that we need. It's got it going on. The QR codes were a success at gate. I understand that it was a lot easier to check people in and there were less issues with checking in because of the QR codes. As far as greeters go, we had a fantastic 11 Principles art show. If you guys didn't see that, I hope that we do it again so you can come and check it out. It was fantastic art. Oh, I put my art up there so you guys could see it. We were like, what are we going to put on this slide? I'm like, I got something. So anyway, this was my art for radical inclusion. This was one of the ones that was presented at the art show at Greeters. Medical staff, like I said, medical staff was on point. They did a fantastic job handling all of the stressful, everything coming their way and all of the small things too. Like they just took really good care of our community at Saguaro Man. Permits were completed in a timely manner, completed correctly, and everything went through smoothly, obviously, because we had the event. Portos, because obviously we're keeping an eye on the Portos, but we also listen to the survey results that come through, and a lot of them were mentioning that they'd like to see more Portos with daily cleaning. So we made that happen this year.
That was amazing, wasn't it? Those of you who were there.
It was really nice. Yeah. Rangers, from what I understand, they were very well staffed. Trained 11 new heliotropic rangers, and we're always looking for more volunteers that are interested in rangering. So please reach out to us and let us know if you're interested in that. Ticketing, like I said, Humanitix, it was fantastic and we're still kind of playing with it and, getting the hang of it. So, The who, what, where, when, we just wanted to mention that Dust App was really useful. A lot of people really loved it. Some of the benefits were that you can edit the who, what, where, when in real time. Camps could add events. There was just a lot of different things that we were able to do with the Dust App that seemed to really sit well with the community. So we're happy to have that as part of our burn experience.
And we geotagged all the art pieces so that you could read up on a piece of art and then use your app to navigate to it if you wanted to find it.
Yes.
Yeah, I think the other thing with Humanitics was we had a way so that Ruby didn't have to keep a list, and you didn't, if you were gonna go and you ended up not being able to go, you have a way to sell your ticket without needing to go through all of this. You could just do it.
Yeah.
And it provided a way to do it without being able to sell it above face value.
Yeah,
So
a self-service ticket transfer
Yeah.
process built into this.
That's lovely. All right, so for Saguaro Man needs improvement. Accessibility, and these are all just going in alphabetical order because we're OCD freaks like that. Accessibility, more considerations for accessibility needs. So, a lot of this will be spoken about in the land stuff. I did want to throw out there that we are looking to create 2 mobility camp areas where it's a little bit easier to access. The ground is a little more solid for mobility vehicles and all of that. I'm pretty excited about that, and I know Rat Lady is as well. So I'll leave the rest of that to the land team. Communication, more pre-event communication to theme camps, volunteers, and artists. This was one that specifically came from the survey results. I think more or less what they're talking about is like communication on placement, the possibility of allowing camps that are placed next to each other to communicate with each other, like knowing that ahead of time to be able to work all of that out. Volunteers, artists, yeah, just overall, we're looking to be more transparent and more forward with our communication. I know that's a goal of ours, so that is in the works. Emergency services, better procedures and plans for emergencies, review radio equipment and procedures. That's kind of self-explanatory right now. We are working with medical, we're keeping tabs on the production with that, and we're going to see where that goes. Leadership, more leads to share the responsibilities. This is super big for anybody online. Hey, this is important. We need leads. We're working on having more leads so that it takes the burden off of the existing leads and kind of spreads it around a little bit. I should say takes all the fun and spreads that around. Anyway,
more hands.
it's not a burden, but you know what I mean. But anyway, so yeah, we're hopefully, I would hope that people step up this year to assist with leadership opportunities, because we've got the volunteers, we're working on that as well, but we really need some people to step up as leads. Let's see, signage, better signage and lighting for critical tents like medical and T-base. So that was another one from the survey. And when I was reviewing the survey and I saw that one, I was like, oh yeah, that would actually be a good idea. T-base was kind of hidden and it was very dark. And it was hard to figure out where you're going in the dark to get to medical or headquarters or whatever. So I think that's a great one to include. Training, more training needed for various departments. Gate and greeters, perimeter safety. So in the survey, I know that there were comments about gate and greeters. A lot of people really liked the volunteer training that Gate and Greeters was doing before and would like to see that come back. It's just really helpful, especially with the technology that we're using and trying to partner with the community in that way. Gate and Greeters would be a good place to add extra training. Perimeter, I know that there was some confusion with perimeter, specifically like what roles to do or what roles you take and how you perform the job, but also meeting up with people like gathering your group for perimeter and setting everybody out on their job. So those were just a couple of ones that stuck out. As far as volunteers go, I think I'm like red in the face with this one. We need more volunteers to man shifts. We had a lot of empty slots in every department for both Sawarman and DCOM. And we need volunteers. If you have the drive, if you're at all interested, come and try it out. If you hate it, never do it again, but I promise you won't. It's fantastic. It's wonderful. And whatever department you do, there's great things to come from it. So please, please come and volunteer. All right, I'm just going to read this one because this year we anticipate inviting representatives from other regional burns. We are excited to have them shadow our leads and share ideas and information. So this was new information for me, but I think it's a fantastic idea and I'm actually really excited about it. Something that we mentioned about decomp, I don't actually know if I have it on the decomp slides, but I know it's in the afterburn report for decomp, but we're talking about possibly joining up with New Mexico to have our decompressions combined. And that's like super fun and exciting for me. So yeah, we're in the works and trying to just connect with the other regionals or the other regions. Next thing is we will be implementing several capital improvements projects that are required by the county. While costly, these will continue to improve our ability to get permits for events. This will include grading and widening Covered Wagon Road, putting in a culvert to help with rainwater diversion, and creating a permanent emergency exit. Our new land development team will be integral in helping with these tasks. So you guys will hear more about this in the land development section, but we're really excited for all of these changes. And we actually had somebody come out and like survey the land during decomp to help us start like getting the ball rolling on these changes. Yeah, we're always excited to hear feedback from participants, other regions, you know, we want to hear from you. So there's the email address there.
I'm gonna go back really quick.
I
to the
just
very first
remembered.
one
I just remembered.
because This QR code takes you directly to the Afterburn report. So if you haven't seen the Afterburn report yet for Sawarman, it's there and they did just an amazing job with it.
And I believe if you go to that QR code, you can also, there is a link to the survey.
Yeah, it's inside the decomp.
Yeah,
It's
inside the
it's
decomp.
inside the report.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The second you
Yeah.
were like, I was like, oh, I remembered,
And
I forgot
this
that.
QR code is like the fastest Afterburn report we've ever gotten after a burn.
Yay! All right. So we're now on to decompression. 3 new event producers. That's useful. Quartz and me. We stepped up, gosh, was it August, September? So not a whole lot of time before decomp, but we jumped in and we're like, all right, let's make this happen. We're excited about it and we're looking forward to next year. We had, like I said, 3 event producers. We had 167 tickets sold, somewhere around 25 volunteers, 8 departments involved, 1 theme camp. Thanks, Rocker. 3 art pieces, 1 very minor bee sting, and 0 LEO visits. No snake bites, thankfully. Just 1 bee sting. All right, what went well? It was an easy event. Few friends made. Again, there you are, Rocker. So really quick, Rocker had a fantastic pallet bar at decompression. He served tacos and popsicles, and it was wonderful. And he was new to our community, coming in as a totally like, don't know anybody. I'm just gonna do my thing and rock it like a rocker.
My sunshine when I came to the gate, she's like, you're here to do what?
Anyway, we just give a bit, we're like, yeah, the pallet bar was fantastic and we're all super happy to have you as part of the community. Yeah. So no serious incidents, lots of kids and doggo participation. Center camp was a success. Rod Martin brought center camp to decompression this year and it was lovely. He also had an arts installation where he projected Burning Man pictures on the like inner roof of or the ceiling of his shade structure. So you could lay down in his reclining chairs and take a look at that. It was great. Permits were submitted and approved without any issues. Everybody worked really well together with our development, or not our development, our production team, and it was great. And like I said before, the land development team used the time at decomp to look at future improvements. Needs improvement. Inconsistent Wi-Fi for gate. I know that was a struggle. We had some issues with the Humanitics site not updating because it wasn't consistently connected to Wi-Fi. So we're gonna work on that and figure that out. Again, more volunteers needed. We were short-staffed, but we made it work. Everybody got checked in, everything ran smoothly, but we definitely could use more volunteers for decomp, especially on opening day. So anybody that's looking next year for something fun to do, come and volunteer with us. Another thing, wouldn't say it's a needs improvement, but we are considering, and obviously because I mentioned we're possibly partnering with New Mexico, selling more tickets, growing the event a little bit. It's fantastic. We love how cozy it is, but it would be fun to make it a little bit bigger.
And you get to see the Northern Lights this year, didn't you?
Yeah, we sure did. Yeah, we saw the Aurora at Decomp Thursday night. This year, oh, see, I did mention it already. Gosh darn it. This year, the New Mexico regional leads from Sunburn reached out to our leadership team and proposed that we consider doing a joint decompression. We're excited about exploring that and looking to possibly get that moving for Decomp 2025. So again, anybody that has feedback, whether you're a participant or you're from other regions and you've never been to Decomp or Saguaro, like we'd love to hear from you. Reach us at decompleads@azburners.org. Yeah. All right, we need you. More volunteer stuff. It's like my focus today. Be on the lookout for volunteer opportunities with these descriptions in the near future. Census, center camp, emergency services, event production, fine print and documentation, mobility, accessibility, sustainability, and volunteer coordination. Looking for volunteers in any and all of those. If something stands out to you, come forward and let us put you to work. Thanks to everyone who volunteered for Decomp, for Saguaro Man, all of our volunteers from the community, all of our leads. Like, we literally could not do this without you guys. So thank you so much for everything that you do. And again, you can reach us at arp@azburners.org. Basically, any of these email addresses you see up here, you're going to get somebody. So don't stress that too much. All right, coming in 2025, Saguaro Man. The theme is Parallel Universe, and our dates are April 23rd through the 27th of 2025. Work weekend will be April 11th through 13th. Decompression, the dates are tentative because there is so much going on in October that we have to make sure we're not clashing with other events. But for right now, it's set for October 9th and 12th, 2025. And yeah, come volunteer.
And watch for communication on this. They're gonna go on sale December 1st.
Thank you. Yeah, I think that was it. Thanks again to our volunteers, and please, if you're interested in volunteering, come forward and help us out.
Woohoo!
Yeah, I think that's
Thank
it.
you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Vixen, Cords, and Useful for decomp meetings.
Yeah. So just a quick recap of all the upcoming events. So Saguaro Man and Decompression, two main events. But we've got holidays coming up. You're going to see emails going to come out on this coming week. We already had the dates set. We had a location change. Richard Wizardry, who lives in Camp Verde, is offering up his property, can make it a camping event. He's got plenty of room. And it's a little bit earlier in the month this time, so we don't have to worry about clashing with Santarchy or any of the December holidays. So hopefully we can get a great turnout for that. Saguaro Man, as Vixen mentioned, Ignite. We would love to get back to doing Ignite. The board has also authorized several $1,000s to seed Ignite. We just need a team.
People may not know what Ignite is.
So Ignite, we did it several years in a row. It was led by Kristen Wesley. We partnered for those events with Alwyn House, a gallery in the Roosevelt Arts District. And it was it was and hopefully will continue to be an outreach to the larger community to give people a taste of what Burning Man is like. And so rangers, theme camps, art. It was a place for artists to bring their art. So burner artists, bring your art. We had a little makeshift temple in the back. We had stages, an area for flame effect things to be going on. But when Kristen stepped down from leadership of that role, we ended up without a leader and without a team. So it would be amazing to reconstruct it. Whoever the team decides to be, contact me because I would love to be the RC to sign off on this and make it an official event again and have this rolling once more. So we can talk further about that. We're going to talk about event leadership. Is anybody in here interested in reigniting Ignite? Yay. So, let's like gather a little bit as soon as this is over today and make sure that we can connect with each other and see how we can make it happen. We may or may not be able to get all in-house for the kind of timing we had before, but we can make this event happen and make it good. Okay.
Dates run on holidays. It's the 6th through the 8th.
Okay. Sorry. Yeah, I put 7th because it's Friday at noon. So 7th is a Saturday. Sorry about that. Newbie events, always in June-ish, July-ish kind of time frame. Be on the lookout for calls for hosts. If you want to host, we'd love for you to host. Next year, decompression, as you heard Vixen talk about, and then Burning Man 2025 will be August 24th to September 1st, Black Rock City. All right, so this leads to a framework that we've been talking about for what can event leadership look like? As I said when we kicked off this meeting, we're trying to become less corporate-like and more burner-like, whatever burner-like means. So we want to share a framework with you that is still in the generation phase, but would love to get your feedback, which is why I want to share it with you. And thanks to Mary and thanks to Julie for helping to really refine this and get the more of the thinking around it. First, you heard Vixen looking for volunteers. Especially for our major events, which have been Sorrow-Man Decompression and Ignite when we had Ignite. If you're an event lead, or those 1 or 2 people that are really in charge of the event, it is a massive amount of work. Like, it's massive, and the bigger our events have gotten, the more massive it's been. I know that at least for Ruvi and Julie and Armella leading up to Sorrow-Man 2024, it was literally weeks and weeks and weeks of full-time jobs. So forget about the rest of their lives. It is hard stuff. The timing of our events doesn't make it very helpful to have the same exact people responsible for every event. You go from Sorrow-Man and then you start leading into Big Burn and then you start going into Decomp, and you don't have a chance to take a breath if it's the same people over and over again. If you're part of anybody in here in the co-creators group, so you're lead of a department, and okay, those meetings that go through department after department after department are really, really long. And so you got a lot of people sitting in meetings that on the one hand, you might be super interested in everything else that's going on, but about this much of the meeting has any real relevance for you. So how do we deal with these kind of issues, especially the major burnout kind of thing? So we started thinking about what could it look like other than this hierarchical one person at the top that's got to get everything done and then everybody else. Said, okay, criteria needs to be, it's got to be more burner-like, less corporate-like. We want to do whatever we can to have super radical participation, not just work, but fun, right? We want to also remember that in the words of Larry Harvey, many hands make light work, but we also need to remember that too many hands means no decisions get made. So how can we balance all of these things and move into some kind of workable framework for our major events? So I want to share this idea with you. Again, it's still in the phase of, we're still fleshing out how this is going to work, because I promise you, it's a major paradigm shift from the way we've been doing it so far. imagine a council or some other word for this. But when we thought about it, there's really 6 main overarching areas of focus for every one of our events, with Saguaro Man being the biggest and the most complex and needing every single one of the things that's inside. We've got the fine print, so things like contracting and permits and insurance and getting the org sign off and all those ticketing and all those kind of things, budgeting, afterburn reports. So there's the fine print. There's emergency services and safety that consists of a bunch of different groups like medical and rangers and T-base and bed and fire perimeter and that kind of stuff. There's art, right? Can't forget about the art that we've got to get placed, and fire performances and fast and DMV and all the things that are art. We've got radical participation for things like greeting and getting people in and volunteers and all those kind of things. We've got to have communication. You heard Misha talk about it. You heard Vixen talk about it. We've got all these different things going on with that. And we always need to have a venue, right? From the place to placement to getting ice to having portos. So we thought about these 6 areas. And what if we had like a council with a person, and that council would be essentially the replacement for a single person event lead, right? This now becomes the group of people that are kind of the event producers, if you will. And then you still have all the different teams, but now every single person doesn't have to go to every single meeting, right? Things like that. There would be, again, I'm talking right now, I'm still talking what our idea is. There would be 1 event council per event, but I don't mean 1 event council for Saguaro Man 2025 and then another one for Saguaro Man 2026. And a council for Saguaro Man, that's a standing group, a council for Decomp, and a council hopefully for Ignite. Okay, that's kind of how we're thinking. When we were at this burn after meeting thing, other regions actually have similar to this kind of makeup. For example, there's a burn called AZBurner that's up in the Toronto area. These people they call area facilitators. Okay, because they're the facilitators for the groups of teams okay. I kind of like that name because it's way less hierarchical and way more participatory, but whatever the names are. Ideally, the team leads. So think emergency services. There's a team lead for medical. There's a team lead for rangers. There's a team lead, right? These are all the people that are in the co-creators. Ideally, these folks would get together and say, who should be our person on the council, right? The council would not be appointed by the board, for example. The team leads would say, who should be our person on the council for Saguaro Man? The team leads for Ignite or whatever, okay? And then the council, so these 6 folks would then decide among them who should be the person from our council that sits on the AZBurner Board. Thought this would be a great way to 3 seats on the board would be directly associated with our major events. And so everybody keeps up to date with everything. So this is, I mean, this is really all I have. This is all the slides we have on this idea. We would love to get your feedback and what you think about moving in a direction like this, especially those of you who have been in the co-creators or have done events or things like that. We'd love to hear from you because this is kind of we're hoping to move with this, but it's also not completely ready for prime time. But we wanted to take advantage of the fact that we have everybody together. Did I miss anything in that explanation? Okay, thank you. So then the potential, so if you look at, if this was in place, then the board makeup, the next board makeup, right? You see Ruby and I aren't on there because our terms came to an end and we decided we didn't want not to renew. So the current board members plus event council member from Saguaro Man, event council member from Decomp, event council member from Ignite, and then additional board members that would come from the other process that we used to bring on the current board members. So that's the idea. Stay tuned. We want to spread the load. We want to have good, robust groups for making decisions together. And we also want to have this built from the community up, not top down. That's the idea. All right. Okay. Where are we now? So now it's time to move to the land. if you need to get up and stretch your legs and grab some food, Huck will talk while you all are doing that. Don't worry, you're not being rude.
No. Okay, as we have heard, the land was purchased, about 3 years ago? And not a lot has taken place. And we've got, earth moving equipment, we've graded roads, we've cut plenty of mesquite trees and have done a lot of things to the land from maybe a vegetation standpoint, but nothing really to support it. So that's really where we're headed. We need to build this land so it works for everyone, the land plus this community. So what we've done is we currently have a land stewardship team. That's Juan, Tim, Serpico, and Cutie Pie. Well, Cutie Pie has left the state. We had a meeting briefly with Tim today, and then Juan, he's local, Kristen's husband, and they've got a lot going on. So again, not a lot of opportunity to do things that we need to do with the land. And what do we need to do with the land? That's the other question. And that's why we're looking to the community to ask, what do we need to do? So as far as the AZBurner's land development team, we have Julie, we have Charles Rogers. He's an owner of a permaculture business down in Tucson. We have Noreen, also known as Chainsaw. She lives in Wilcox, is local, and is able to get out to the land and do surveys and measurements and different things that we can do. We have Chris Turner, we have Mike, and we have Stephen.
And the Asterisk board members.
Yes, and a few board members. As far as AZBurner's community stewardship team, again, board members Armella, Adele, Danny, Coda, Lisa, Ruby, and myself. So these three can see kind of the interfacing where they connect there. We're all participating in what we need to do with the land, along with the community. All righty. Okay, one of the things that, as far as developmental activities, some of our current activities, you heard Misha talk about Covered Wagon Road, the widening and grading. This is something that Cochise County has requested from us. So they didn't require us to do it before decomp, but before Saguaro Man takes place, we've got to have this done. Now we are going to go back with them because during decomp, we went out, did some measurements, did a survey. There's a neighbor who is not getting her Amazon deliveries during our events. There's no room for two-way traffic. So, Cochise County has to deal with those complaints. So one of the things that Cochise County has come back with has said, would you please widen Covered Wagon Road to 24 feet? Well, when we looked at it, there are spots that we can't without moving fencing, asking the neighbors to move fences back. So what we're looking to do is do like pull outs. As you're driving up north, as I said, live up in Strawberry, all those big RVs are pulling, there's 30 cars behind them. Everybody's honking, trying to get by. So we're looking to possibly do some turnouts to where we could pull over and allow another vehicle to pass by. We also need to put in a permanent emergency exit. This is something that we did for Swarman last year, but then when we left, we covered it over. But there's a drainage ditch that goes along. So as you're coming into our land, on the left-hand side is where this ditch is. And we are going to get a 12-inch culvert, about 20 foot long, lay in there, tamp it in, put some rock to protect it so it can provide drainage. So this will be, again, another requirement by Cochise County in the event of emergency. We're all burners. We'll get the hell out of there, but it's how can we get out effectively and meet the requirements of the county? We're also looking at permanent gates. So again, designing a gate for the emergency exit and then a gate for the main entrance. Also, no camping in floodplains. That was something they came up with. What we found was that on the south part of our property, we have a fire road that was graded through there. There's a very deep wash. And if as you're coming up, you can kind of look off to the left, again, along this ditch, a large wash that comes through the south end of our property. They're requiring that we do not camp anywhere within 50 feet of the lip of that wash. So Noreen has gone out, she's staked it, and it actually almost brings it up to the fire road. We went out, Noreen and I walked it. It was about 60 feet by foot as we walked it, and are identifying that. So we cannot camp. Not going to take a lot of camping spots from us. On the north end of the property, we have to be 30 feet back from that wash. And again, we've got a lot of property. We have 80 acres out there. So I don't think we're going to run out of space. But as we continue to grow the community and have more people come to the events, but I think we're looking at now maybe 1,250, 1,300 for the next event. We're going to have to decide that at the next board meeting. So, what do we want to take that number up to? And what can we accommodate without raping and pillaging the land is what we're looking to do. And then mobility camping, working very closely with Danny, also known as AKA Rat Lady, on how to make the porta potties. We already have ADA compliant and mobility accessible porta potties. They're much wider. And in fact, I could have a party in one, if we decorated it up. And so we're looking at this crushed granite that they use. What's that?
By the way, should make that happen.
All right. I'll need some help with the decorations. I know somebody who may be able to help. So what we're looking at, the crushed granite, you can take it, tamp it down, it almost becomes like concrete. So doing large walkways into the porta potty areas for the wheelchairs and walkers or whatever, and even a base, and then eventually taking it throughout, maybe the art walk, kind of cover that area to where folks with wheelchairs. I think as we begin doing these things, when I heard it from BAM meeting, as you make these things available, you're going to get more folks who have been mobility challenged. And that's what it's all about. It's radical inclusion. We want more folks to attend.
We learned that last week. Every burn that focused on adding mobility access, people with those needs came out of the woodwork. I mean, there's so many burners that think that going to the burn will be inaccessible for them. So when we do these kind of things and make it known, well, our population will just naturally increase with burners who just already think they can't. So
the other thing we looked at were to have two areas identified, and Danny and I went and marked them. One is near center camp and the other one is up by the quiet zone close to the fire pit, so that folks with mobility issues can be closer to those areas where there's congregating folks getting together for the burns and so forth. As far as the current plans, these, which you don't see on our land, are mature mesquite trees. They do grow into trees. Ours mostly are all bushes. And then we go in and hack and cut and beat them and tear them up. Anything taller than 4 foot, we don't want to mess with. And we're along with the work weekend, maybe the week before, we haven't come up with the date yet. The land team hasn't. But we want to have a work weekend where we come out and do some tree trimming, cutting some of those lower branches and allowing for some upward growth. Wouldn't it be great to camp under one of those instead of having to put up, sunshades and so forth? So you have just a natural canopy, a living canopy. So it can happen. And as I said, Charles Rogers out of Tucson is working with very closely. This is his business. This is what he does. He has a ranch in Benson that I think next week, when I go down to the Tucson Town Hall, I'm going to stop off at his ranch, see what he's done. Because one of the other things he's come up with, and he's going to go out and survey, is you can build what are called one rock dams. And as I was driving down the 87 coming from Strawberry last night, or actually yesterday, looking, and they have them along there. They take one rock and they start building berms around some of the shrubbery and so forth. So what it will do, and then all the vegetation we've cut and left to kind of rot and decay, we're going to move that in front of the one rock dam so it can start breaking down, holding moisture, collecting moisture, And now we have some true growth. Our mesquites that we have down there have a lot of acacia too that are down there, and a lot of other grasses and so forth. We didn't want to tear the grass out. We can maybe cut it off. Those whips that they have, we should probably get a few of those, because again, we can see how the dust is created when we have those windstorms come through. And again, he's offered to go down and do monthly evaluations. As far as mobility areas, I talked about the portos, the granite bases, and the entrance paths. So we will have those certain areas identified because that's where the crushed granite will be. As far as Dogville, looking perhaps to help with the dog runs there and maybe put some crushed granite in there. May have to get some booties for the dogs if it gets real hot. And then family kids camps. Again, and these are all suggestions that have come up. None of this is, in cement. We did a brainstorming session. What can we do to enhance the property, encourage more growth? Playground and fitness areas. You've gone to some like hotels and things, different parks, and they have the different spots that you can walk and, let's do a little exercise here, a little pull up, or, bending or walking the rail, or, a number of ideas. Structures, looking at composting portos, kind of pricey, but, if you paid attention to Amy's presentation on finances, porta potties, that's a big expense for us. There's a lot of shitting going on, and we got to put it somewhere. Maybe we just need to dig a hole, get to be real burners and then cover up, a big litter box we can have, scratch and dig the hole. But they're expensive also. Center camp, some type of structure. Now I know we have, folks come in early to try to set up the poles and the coverings and so forth, but could we come up with something that maybe could stay? And again, part of all this is going to be addressing our permit, because we're in an R10 now. And again, we're trying to get a permanent special permit so we don't have to go through the permitting for every event. As you know, those who plan to go to decomp last year, kind of a little cog in the wheel, we had to go to the BLM land up by Marana because we didn't get the permit in time and it wasn't the proper permit. And the permits have gone from 2 pages to 6 pages. I think they're learning from us on things that they should be asking about. So that's become a little bit more complicated, but we're learning too. And we really do have a good relationship with them. We work well with them, but they have to address complaints. And unfortunately, we have a few in the neighborhood that don't like us being there. And we've even offered them hotel accommodations and they don't want to leave their home during the event. So we'll have to deal with it and address it. So that's why we have a sound team to make sure the decibels, although she said she could feel the thumping, she could feel the land vibrating under her feet. She thought it was an earthquake. So again, headquarters, medical, tranquility. So all the different, rangers, gate and greeters, tool storage. We currently have connexes, the central fire pit area. What can we do to maybe get some seating? I asked Ethan when I went down during decomp about where's the seats? We had logs set up. Well, I didn't bring those logs to sit on. I brought those logs to burn. So I think he had about 3 or 4 of them. So the rest of us, we had blankets in our chairs, but it'd be neat to maybe have some timbers where they're cut in half. And we just went to an amphitheater out by Big Bear Lake out in California in July, and beautiful amphitheater with logs that have been cut in half. And that's what you're seeing. Great and natural. So I just have to watch for splinters. And art installations. How can we enhance our art installation area? So again, any ideas that you have, add to the list. Something, I don't think that's a good idea. I want to hear from you. So here's our website, landdevelopment@azburners.org. Share your thoughts with us because we want to know, and share your thoughts with us because we're all in this together. And we really
join the team if you're interested.
Absolutely. I mean, it's fun. It's a good group. We walk it if you're a naturalist at all, even if you're not, and it's just a great opportunity to see what we can do to improve this land. And again, I've always had issues. Like I said, I've only been a burner for 6 years, but I want to leave eggshells and coffee grounds, and I kind of dump them there. Oh, no, you can't do that. That's MOOP. Well, I think we need to redefine and look at MOOP. if this can help our environment, which I think it would help our vegetation, those are nutrients for the vegetation. So I think we need to look at that and how can we sustain and improve the vegetation that we have on our land. Okay.
All right. So the board from AA, so Tim and Juan and Cutie Pie, they were not able to be here today. Tim might be online with us. One of the things they will be doing is getting their 990s over to us so that we can get it on the website so that the 990s and the bylaws from at least both of those nonprofit entities will be available for anybody in the community who wants to look at them. And that's, yeah, so now we got Burners Without Borders. So Corinne, yeah, you want me to click for you? You want to click for yourself? All right. Okay.
Hi guys, I'm gonna try not to have an anxiety attack while I'm up here. My name is Corinne. You might have formerly known me as Hermione Ranger. I now go by Fulcrum. We are entering our 11th year of the Arizona chapter of Burners Without Borders. Little bit about it. I was voluntold to start our chapter. I willingly did it. And after a few years, a group of really cool people came in, helped officially develop our values and our mission. I'm not going to bore you with all of that. We have a website. Go look at it. And then I resumed the presidency. We are going to be talking about our roles here. So I welcome Jesse Brown to our board. We now have 3 members on our board, which we need to do at all times to award grants. I'm currently acting as president. It just means that I make sure that we're communicating, I make sure that there are events happening, and I continue to encourage people like either join the events or please nominate your friends that you feel are responsible and would be good board members. I'd also like to thank Jill for being our treasurer and keeping all of the money like organized at any point. If you would like to see our financial documents, they're absolutely public. We are a 501c3. We are accepting nominations for the 2025 board starting now. It's on our website and you can nominate your friends, nominate yourself. I will mention that if you nominate yourself, we evaluate that pretty closely because we're not into the idea of people who just want leadership roles and titles after their names. We want people that are going to actually go out there and do the work and do the things and don't need the recognition. Next step, or next slide. So this last summer, I started teaching flow arts to individuals that are in the Civitan Foundation program. It is a program that serves adults with different abilities and different like mental capabilities. So it's been really enriching to see how even the people, like their own family members and teachers, don't understand what they're capable of. And I walk in and I hand them their flow props and I say, go. And we just dance. And the guy with the fans has been like so inspirationally beautiful. Like people just want to be accepted and do things that are fun. And this is one of my favorite projects that I'm doing. So I go and I teach them weekly, and then about quarterly, they get to perform for other Civitan Foundation events, and they're looking to start performing publicly. I would love to collaborate and have them come out to a burner event and show what we've been doing. Ignite would be cool. Next slide, please.
Volunteered for Ignite?
We are really seeking to have monthly grants. And so like we don't decide where the money goes until there's a grant application. So our first grant application of the 2024 season was to Alt Mental Health. We gave them $500 micro grant that went towards improving the bus that they are using to service the Phoenix community. The front of the bus has a hair washing station, and the back of the bus is a like therapy session type setting. It's comfortable, it's cozy, and their goal is to provide help for those experiencing homelessness. They can get a haircut, hair wash, and they can talk to a peer community support group. I don't have any current updates on what the bus is currently up to for this, but I think that you can reach out to Alt Mental Health and ask them directly. Next slide, please. In February, we collected a ton of period products with our friends at the Arizona Cacophony Society. We prefer to partner with things that are already big and happening, and then also like add in a little bit of charity or solidarity to it. 88 Around has been going on for many years now. It's awesome. I highly recommend getting involved in like helping run that event too, because they also need volunteers. It cannot happen without volunteers. So we collected upwards of $3,000 worth of supplies, thanks to Cacophony Society and the Burner community, in period panties, period cups, because we're trying to promote the most sustainable period products possible. And we donated them all to a charity called UMOM. We've also continued doing our blood drives. We do approximately 4 per year, is the goal. This year we got 51 units of blood. That's at least 51 lives saved. And I'm so proud of everybody who comes out, and I hear everybody who says that, like, I'm not allowed to donate because of X, Y, or Z. That's okay. I thank you for your energy anyway. You can come out and help me check people in. You can help promote online. I hear that we can't all donate blood, but you can still help with volunteering and promoting the blood drives, because they really do save lives. Next. Jill came up with partnering with Save the Family. In years past, we've partnered with Save the Family to collect items for Christmas gifts. This year in the middle of summer, they did a backpack drive. So we granted $500 worth of supplies to them. And then Jesse and I went and spent a day with their organization, learning more about what they do at their main Mesa campus, what communities they serve, and also manually stuffing tons of backpacks to be handed out to grade schoolers through high schoolers that are experiencing homelessness. I cry a lot, sorry. Jill also came up with the idea of coming or like partnering with this group. And so we put together a bunch of pamphlets for an event that they were doing for underserved communities, educating on reproductive rights and reproductive justice. I look forward to continuing to learn more about their group and continuing to try and do micro grants and getting their events more publicized. Jill, you're a rock star. Jill also came up with the idea of like, hey, on Halloween, do you want to like go clean up trash and dress up in fun costumes? And I said, why the fuck not? And so we are going to be we adopted a street because we don't do anything half-ass. We adopted a portion of the Grand Canal path from Indian School and like 16th Street to 20th Street. And so we have 2 or 3 pathways along the canal that we have to clean up 4 times per year. It was actually pretty fun. We have great ideas on what to do next time to make it a little bit more exciting. The residents in the area of the canal keep it exciting too. So just like there's artwork to appreciate in the tunnels. Wear leather gloves. We find some interesting stuff. One of the goals is over time, we're going to be collecting the more durable thing. The city comes and picks up everything that we clean up, but to collect the bigger items that are more durable and then create public art out of it and finding out ways to leave that responsibly. All right, next one. We are partnering with Check Your Head Bus is another hair washing / peer community support bus that reached out and said, hey, we just bought our bus on our own. We're working on all of the things to get it up and running. We're going to do similar things to what Alt Mental Health does. And we're kind of like parallel to them. Daryl is in charge of that that will be starting up in November. And I want to give you like the spoiler alert that if you do the facial hair thing, I think November 15th, he's going to have some sort of mustache / beard competition. If you would like to start shaping your facial hair now. So he provides shampoo, dry cuts, and then also talks with people. Pretty cool. All right, next one, please. All right, fundraising. So this is where I admit I am neurospicy AF, meaning I never wanted this to be a bureaucratic 501c with paperwork filed yearly. I don't even do that stuff in my real life really well. And so I'm super grateful for the people that have come on and helped with making sure that paperwork gets done properly. So we missed, as a team, we missed a tax form this year. We got it done. We're back to 501c3. But if you at any point during August tried to log on to donate to the Mighty Funds or Mighty Cause fundraiser, you saw that we weren't accepting donations. And so I feel like I need to publicly take accountability for that and why. That said, we were able to collect $60 before they noticed that there was a clerical error. We immediately jumped into action. Jill got us back legally on track, and we're able to accept donations again.
You should have gotten money from AZBurners. After the last town hall, you guys were part of that. It says you didn't get money from AZBurners, but you,
I think that was a mistake, you're right. Because
Okay.
I saw, yeah,
okay.
after the last town hall, there was that announcement.
Yeah.
So I apologize, we'll update these. Amazon Smiles discontinued, I think, end of 22 or 20 in 23. And so we haven't had any, that was our biggest source of income for a while. Y'all like to buy crap on Amazon. And so every time you bought stuff for Saguaro Man, Burning Man, decompression, we would get like a little bit of trickle of donations. That has dried up. We're not granting a whole lot right now. We don't have a lot of people applying for grants. And so it's not a big issue. But that said, we would like to grant money. Please apply for grants. That said, and then like we said, the last part, we did receive a portion of donations after the last town hall. I think we had a difference of the way it was structured. At one point, it was like this much ticket sales go to AZBWB, and now we're making it more of a community participatory thing. And so that was my confusion. I apologize. All right, that's next slide, please.
For next week's town hall,
We'll
let's
fix
make
it.
sure that we have your web address here so that we can give a URL so people can go, so that you don't have to put this last bullet on your slide anymore.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes. Looking ahead. So we, like I said, we like partnering with community organizations that are already doing the thing right. I don't want to reinvent the wheel. Jill, Jesse, we don't need to reinvent things. So we love working with Save the Family. They're already providing so many services for our communities experiencing homelessness. We love partnering with American Red Cross. They don't pay people for their blood. They are well organized. You get great notifications. There's little badges that you can win by donating blood on certain days. Like they've gamified blood for us. The Walter Hive, if you're unfamiliar, please familiarize yourself with the Walter Hive. They are the original part of the Walter family. They provide education, STEM education to different schools in the area. They do so many great things, art events, etc. So our upcoming events that we're doing, I mentioned the Check Your Head thing that's going to happen sometime in November. I'll be announcing more stuff about that. And then as well as in December, we have Santarchy. We don't have, it's the Cacophony Society. So we don't have a plan for what's going on for Santarchy yet, but we will. And we'll tell you where we'll probably have 3 locations where we'll collect toys at specifically to keep confusion down. And then just keep an eye out for future blood donation dates and MOOP cleanups. But the MOOP cleanups will always start at Indian School and 16th Street area. And the blood donations are pretty solidly at Walter Studios, so you're welcome, like, sign up there. Thank you for your support. Our website, you can Google Arizona Burners Without Borders. Sorry for not having the link, but I think it's azbwb.org. It's really easy to find. But please come volunteer with us or take my job. That too. I'll keep doing the things, like I'll keep doing the events. I don't want the organization part anymore. All right. Thanks, guys.
Aren't you like blown away at how much they have done and how much they do? Thank you guys just so much. And for the Tucson Town Hall, the URLs are going to be on those slides with QR codes so people can get there right away. All right, just a little bit on Burning Man project for you. Arizona went to Burning Man this year.
Apparently so did I.
And so did Ruby. Yeah, there was a cutout of Ruby that kind of made its way around, including to the so we had lots of burners from Arizona. 38 of you shared your address and name of your theme camp to be able to share with other Arizona burners. Next year, maybe there will be more. And a whole bunch of you went on our annual AZBurners tour of the playa. Next year, maybe we'll do this later in the day so that it doesn't have to be in the heat of the day. And it gets really hard to just be out in the sun like that. But I mean, we just 3 art cars, movement of Ja people, Walter and Big Willie all took, I think it was at least 50 Arizona burners around the playa for an art tour. And we had a good time. Even though it was super hot, we had a good time. So just wanted to share that with you. There we are. A little bit about Burning Man project. So we're an official region of Burning Man. We're one of like 110 regions around the world, 36 states, 34 countries. There are more than 250 people that are regional contacts, like I am, like Armella is, like Pam has been. In 2023, so we have Saguaro Man, right? We had 1,200 people at Saguaro Man, a couple hundred people at Decompression. We were part of 95,000 people last year that participated in, oh, really, again? Come on. Okay, yes, so close. I know, it has a mind of its own, this thing. Okay, well, we're almost done anyways. Don't need the slides for that. 95,000 people participated in 85 regional events in 2023 that also had more than $1.5 million in art grants. This is not Burning Man art grants, Black Rock City. This is art grants provided to regional events. So we were among our 15,000 in art grants last year. That's going to be 20,000 in art grants this year. That will be more than that in 2026. I don't know, Ruby.
Will the cord stretch to my machine because I can share?
It doesn't matter. This is almost done.
Oh, okay.
We're basically, this is like the only other slide is Burning Man event, right? I want to also point out that, past regional contacts. So Chromie was a regional contact for Arizona, still super involved in the organization. Those 110 or 85 plus regional events, he's part of the regional events committee. So he gets involved in all kinds of different regional events. Scotto, who was a regional contact for our region for many years, he's still super actively involved. He's on what they call the Meta Council, and he gets involved with regions that have conflicts. So there's all kinds of ways to participate, whether you're in Arizona, whether you're participating with Burners Without Borders, whether you're participating with our events, whether you're participating with Burning Man Project. The way to just feel so good about it and have a lot of fun is to just be with other people doing really cool things. The very last thing we were going to say officially up here is that Burning Man 2025 will take place August 24th to September 1st in Black Rock City. The theme is Tomorrow Today. So hopefully we'll have another great turnout for our Arizona Burners at Black Rock City event. Maybe make it a little cooler part of the day. Stay tuned for that. And now the last section of this, before we all work together to leave no trace, and we did it. We kept the formal stuff to less than 2 hours. Yay!
Yes.
So the final word is really your final word. So your thoughts, your questions, any subjects that you think you were hoping to hear about that we missed. Now it's time for you. So
Lisa, can
Yeah.
you mute your mic? I'll open
Yes.
my mic because this will pick up questions. from
yeah,
the
no
crowd.
more share. And my audio is.
And folks online, if you've got a question, either type it into the chat and I'll read it out, or just go off mute and speak. We got one question.
So they're in the list of expenses for our events. There was one that said land rental.
Yes.
Can I have more information on that? Because we own our land.
Yes, it's kind of because we have this crazy complex legal structure. There needs to be a transaction between AZBurners and between Arizona Artistic Conflagrator and Arizona Artistic. So it's really just to show that there's a transaction, and it also helps that legal entity pay for the taxes on the land, the insurance of the land, their accounting and legal and that kind of stuff. So that's the purpose of that. And any money they have left over is earmarked for whatever our community decides to do with the land. That's the reason we have this land development team. So it's not just those 3 people sit in a room and decide what to do. It's really about what is the community looking to do with the land and how can the community make the land good. So that's the reason for that.
Yes. Okay, thank you.
Good question.
I had the same question.
I have a question. I can't be the only one. I work in the service industry, so it's hard for me to take weekends off. Is there any kind of volunteering? I'd come out on the land on a Tuesday, it works on Thursday. Like, I would love to do stuff like that. If there's anything that way I could participate, that would be awesome.
I can take that one. We have our DPW, Department of Public Works. They, the folks who volunteer on that team usually come to that land 2 weeks before the event. And they are doing road maintenance, marking out areas, setting up shade structures, things like that. And that's definitely something you can do. And I know service industry, that's weekends. All the fun events happen on nights and weekends, and that's when you're working. But you're certainly welcome to join the DPW team.
Okay.
Get out there ahead of time. It's actually a really cool, wonderful group of people. And you get to you have the land to yourself and do a lot of really cool stuff out there. So
Good.
yeah.
I'll add one more thing. So the event that Fulcrum presented about the section of the canal that Burners Without Borders has adopted. Guess what day of the week that MOOP cleanup occurred?
Wednesday?
It was Thursday, right? It was Halloween.
Thursday?
So keep your eyes open.
Okay.
There's also Thursday night at the Tabernacle is an informal regular event that kind of happens.
Okay.
You'll find information about that on Facebook or check with somebody in here. So there's some things that happen during the week. But yeah, some of these.
I have one more thing, if you guys don't mind. It's not that big of a deal, but I do this character thing, and I like to put music to it. And I like to wait till the sound camp shut down because nobody can hear my music. You walk away from one sound camp. So it was like 2:30 in the morning, and I was playing, I had a JBL speaker, and someone did come up to me and said, hey, I love what you're doing, but you gotta turn the music down. And I just felt like there were generators louder than the music I was putting out, I just felt like that was, and I wasn't in the quiet area. I was in the, but
So-
no big deal.
The question there was about quiet hours and why
Yeah.
do we have them? That was another county asked from us.
Right, but I
And-
would say, I was thinking the 2 a.m. was for the sound camps.
Okay,
bad for like a little speaker.
Little boombox
Like, are we
speaker, yeah.
going,
It's about the
neighbors
decibels,
require
right?
a certain-
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Anyway.
No, we need to go back there.
Oh,
first.
sorry.
Given that the board is bleeding money right now, does the Arizona leadership have a plan on how to stay solvent if we don't sell out?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, so a couple things, and this is one of the things that and then you guys can chime in, but I'll tell
Can you
you.
repeat the question? I don't know if.
So the
it was-
question was, you know, if you're not on the newsletters or things for Burning Man Project, they're having a really, really bad time right now financially. They've been counting on the high price tickets that offset other things. This year, they didn't sell nearly as many. They sold way, way, way fewer than they ever imagined they would sell. So there's things financially there that they're in difficult times, frankly, as are many corporations in the festival business. The question was, what are we doing in order to make sure that we can stay solvent even in tough times? This is one of the reasons why there's money in the bank. It is for what happens if we take a dip again. You know, when we went through the COVID years, we did almost go under. The board pitched in and did donations to make sure that we could stay solvent. We don't ever want to be in that position again. The way that Saguaro Man works is, even though we've got the money to be able to fund many of the expenses, the practice is, it's not, ooh, how much can we get? We spend all that we can get. The practice is, we make a really good, reasonable budget, and we work our butts off to make sure that we're the culture that I've seen really take hold with the event producers and with the board that I've been involved with, is we're the stewards of the community's money. We've got to be really, really careful and take really good care with any decision we make to spend any of that money. So there are certain things that are allowed to, so some of the improvements that you see on the list this year, if a threshold isn't met of ticket sales, that improvement has to wait. So there's things like that that are in place now that weren't before, to make sure that we never go back there. Thanks, good question. Amy, did you want to add something to that? Okay.
Thank you, Jim.
And just for T-Pop, you know, we had stuff on our list,
Budgeting.
but until we sold enough tickets, we weren't gonna go into the red, we wanted to stay in the black.
Yeah.
So we said, is there a want or a need? So we took care of all the needs, we were within budget, but any of the wants, only if we had the ticket sales.
And being
Or we-
conservative.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes.
So in the changing culture of like festival world and people just showing up to things instead of bureaucracy, I have a question about our Arizona Burn community. If the powers that be, all these lovely volunteers, board members, different groups, the conversation of how do we get fresh blood, ideally young fresh
Yes.
blood. It's talked about, I love the, what did I call it, the pursuit pie that you had up there. That's gonna take a lot of people,
Yes.
volunteers that are needed, that's gonna take more people. And I love AZBurners, but if you look around this room.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
So-
Yeah.
And we also have a little bit of a disadvantage in our Phoenix-based community, where I feel like a lot of younger folks got very comfortable with the festival type environment, where they were offered amazing events that they didn't have to do anything but show up. So I'm just wondering if there's any talk about that, or if there's any thoughts around what we could do.
I think there's less
Maybe,
talk than there
can you
needs to.
repeat the question just in case?
So the question essentially is, when we look around our respective tables, most of the folks are in a higher age category, right? So what does the next generation of burners look like, and how do we cultivate that and get more fresh blood on board? This was also a huge part of the discussion at the thing I was at last week, with a lot of different regional burn producers. And it's huge. For example, the social media that we use as Arizona Burners relies very, very, very heavily on Facebook. Well, guess what? It is not the social media of choice for people that are younger than 35, say.
We gotta get on Snapchat.
We gotta get on TikTok, we gotta get on Snapchat, I mean, even Instagram, right? So it's like Facebook, old, Instagram next, you know, TikTok and Snapchat behind that. So how do we do these things? That's part of it. The other part is, once you get them there, how do we acculturate so that they can get it, that even though you gotta work your ass off to be in these events, it is so fucking fun. Right? It's better than it could ever be at some of these other things. So those are conversations and things we need to have. And part of that needs to be building a bigger communications team, I think. Part of that, I will say that we do have some young folks. I mean, Useful is a young guy.
Oh, I have no idea how old he is.
Well, he's definitely not as old as I am. He's my age, so,
Yeah,
But Ignite also is an event to.
Ignite is a place to, yeah.
I
Renee?
mean, could we have someone that is focused on the different media groups instead of using Facebooks for the communication for this group?
Yeah.
Putting some of the video and making sure that some of the other content does end up on the group, so it's gonna in front of a younger group.
First there was someone, yes, Renee and then Corinne.
I actually wanted to ask about Ignite. There were a couple of us that were highly motivated to keep that running last year, and we put together a proposal and put together a plan that included values that were mentioned in today's meeting, and also kind of overlap with the concern that we're addressing now of having other people engage in what we're doing and not just show up to some kind of party. And a major halting point of that was the liability insurance, and it was it just became a stopping point. We had no way of addressing that. There was no clear information about that. It was a big mess trying to figure that part out.
So I can say,
everything else around it. So I'm curious about how to not have that happen and how to move forward with that same, I still want to do that same proposal. And
Awesome.
do it with other people.
awesome, yay. So the question for the Zoomies was about Ignite. Last year, there actually was a proposal. The big stopping point was about insurance, especially how expensive that insurance is, I think, and it turned into a major obstacle. I'll speak for myself, and my fellow board members can tell me if I'm all wet. I think last year was a transition period, I think. It was, and there was a lot less bandwidth available. If we have a core team of people willing to lead Ignite, the board is ready to do whatever we need to do from an Arizona Burners perspective to support that and make that happen. There was already a decision to set aside to at minimum support it with $5,000. If we need more, if insurance turns out to be more, so let's sit down, let's work the budget, let's go back to that proposal. You got an RC ready to sign off and also ready to help you make that happen, because I think it's a huge thing. I'm going off the board, so I'll have the bandwidth to help you with it. So. Yes.
I just wanted
Corinne was.
to add to the insurance conversation. That's a very valid point, the liability insurance. And to give you an idea, our Swarman insurance, which is an event where we have fire from burnable art to poofers and fire equipment and fire performers, is in the 6,000 plus range. Decomp, which didn't have the fire, was about $600. So that as soon as you bring fire into it,
As soon as you bring fire or camping into it, insurance jumps.
not the camping wasn't the big deal. The fire, boom, way out there.
Yeah, and we've also learned, I think, over the last 2 years, say 2-year learning curve of what's involved in insurance in today's world. We've learned a ton, and we've also got resources in the burner sphere to help us figure that out too, so.
And again, that's part of the plan to try to maybe get within New Mexico and California groups. Maybe we can collectively go to an insurance broker.
But we're talking right now about Ignite.
Get it better.
We're talking
Okay,
specifically
sure.
about Ignite.
But even to take it from Ignite, as Ruby said, it is costly.
Yeah.
It's costly.
Couple
Fulcrum.
points, to add on to So Great Night, I know one of the big disappointments was that there was no fire dancing. Super happy to go to the city of Phoenix and get that permit, like I've been doing professionally for 16 years and make it happen. Like, we can have fire dancers and it will probably help reduce the cost of the event permit, because each of us carry policies. So you'll have like 20 billion in coverage just because you're fire dancers before
Mhm.
permit. The other point I was gonna say is like, if we could really work on finding a communications volunteer that will like speak the Gen Z Riz talk, and then if we can make some promo videos with some of us with gray hair
Yeah.
being really silly, like those are trending right
Those
now.
are so.
Things talking about like, they go to the symphony, go to the orchestra, and it's two old people talking like Gen Z, like, I don't even
Love it.
know.
Well, why, just gotta pull a couple percent of the people that are seeing those types of videos and getting recruited you need.
Yeah.
I'll give you just one example that I learned about last week. There's one region that, so I don't know how many of you, when we do send them out, get the burn after reading. But there's one region that has somebody who's volunteered to take their newsletter and they make TikToks out of reading snippets of the newsletter so that they can get that out to their, right? I mean, there's just like some really interesting ideas out there that we can do if we've got the folks to make it happen.
We've already reprogrammed everybody's brains. Now we just need to figure out how we get our information to the reprogrammed brains.
Do we have any questions on the Zoom?
Not yet.
Okay. So all the chats, the 11 chats are not anything that.
Just chatting amongst themselves, yes.
Probably.
I had a simple question. Are we completed the payments on the land? Or are we still making?
Oh, yeah, no, those were done
Those are done.
way long ago.
That's why we were broke. We took the Swarman 2020 money, bought the land, which, and then the event didn't happen. And
Yeah.
we, thankfully, most people opted to roll over their tickets to whenever we had the next event. That saved us. Otherwise, we were talking about filing bankruptcy. Because we wouldn't have been able to, the money was spent. So, and I gotta say, thank you to some of the burner community who donated money to help keep us afloat. That was amazing, yeah.
It was huge.
Yeah.
Yay. Anybody else?
Other questions? Anyone online with questions?
Heathen, I see you're there. Do you have anything to share with the community?
Hi, Heathen.
If only my screen was working, I would show you this big ass eye.
There.
Oh, that's heathen.
Yeah, hello all. No, I'm excited about the parallel.
No questions, no.
All
And
right, well, if that's it, then thank you so much. I'm like, I'd love, can we do like a photo together?
Oh, gosh, yes. Wait, hang on a second. Before we do this, mind if I take a picture of the group?
Go for it.
Oh, like,
Do we want to get?
nobody's in witness protection?
Then turn around.
Ready, brown eye, not your blue eyes.
All right, and let's do one selfie. Thank you. Yeah, because the photo we have for the town hall dates back about 5 years, so we keep forgetting to take pictures. Each and everything else. Oh, God, please take the food.
And we'll leave no trace too.